What's good? It's Woog. I want to talk a little bit about Bjork, the queen of, shall we say, the avant-garde when it comes to music. One of the most just boundary-pushing, innovative, creative, talented, open-minded, unpredictable, just fill in the blank. Bjork has been that, I would say, since the early 1990s. Like, she was a child prodigy, and then she, had a band called the Sugar Cubes. She had a couple, kind of punk-ish bands back in her home country of Iceland before then doing the Sugar Cubes, and then debuting with that 1993 album, Debut. But Bjork's about to drop her first album in 5 years. Fossora, or Fossora, I think it's Fossora, Fossora. This is her follow-up to 2017's Utopia. Bjork, it pretty much drops every few years. Like in the beginning of her career, she was dropping every couple of years. Like she did Debut in 93, then her, Grammy-nominated, critically acclaimed Post in 1995. Homogenic, which some believe is her best album, in 1997. Then 4 years later, Vespertine. Then her albums, instead of every 2 years, were every 3 or 4 years. So she's dropping Fossora right now. I haven't heard the album yet, but I just want to say that I hope that not only is she nominated for Best Alternative Music Album, but I hope she wins the damn thing this time. Let me explain why. So, as I mentioned, she's pretty much like the queen of the avant-garde, right? She's been so, abstract, off-kilter. It's not always the easiest listen, even though her voice famously has 3 octaves. Like, she could sing in 3 entirely different ranges. And instrumentally, like, she's always kind of changing things up with every album release. Not only with the album artwork, but, just with the set of instruments that are accompanying her vocals, not to mention experimenting with different arrangements, for song over song, album over album. She's always just one step ahead of the listener, it seems. And not only has she been innovative musically, but in her, her visual releases. Like, she was one of the people who pioneered basically releasing like a short film to accompany her different albums. So she would, have very creatively designed tours, and she would have visual accompaniment, which she would release deluxe versions of her album, or just her album would include these visual accompaniments. It's like, again, very boundary pushing and just pioneering. Bjork, even with the attire to some of the award shows, she famously wore the swan. She's, before Lady Gaga was wowing people with her very unusual looks to different award shows, this was pretty much Bjork's lane. So she's about to drop Fossora, and I said that I want her to be nominated and to win the Grammy for Best Alternative Music Album. This is the reason why. The biggest winners in the category are Beck, Radiohead, and White Stripes. They each have 3. Coldplay, St. Vincent, and Vampire Weekend each have 2. But in terms of nominations, Bjork has now been nominated 8 times in this category. Again, it's Best Alternative Music Album, which to me is one of the most interesting, categories at the Grammys, because it runs the gamut from like, indie pop, indie music. In the 90s, it was like alternative rock and grunge and the different variations, indie folk, folktronica, electronica. You get, everybody from, an aging David Bowie to the Arctic Monkeys to the Flaming Lips to Gnarls Barkley. That was CeeLo and Danger Mouse's project. Gnarls Barkley, The National, Tame Impala, Smashing Pumpkins, My Morning Jacket, Fiona Apple. You've got a lot of different styles of indie and just the off the beaten path styles of rock and roll, like Gorillaz, for instance. They all get nominated in this alternative music album category. So Bjork is tied for the lead in nominations in this category with 8. It's Radiohead, who've won 3. It's Beck, who's won 3. And then it's Bjork, who's won 0, but has been nominated 8 times. And I've just been kind of watching this play out, album after album, like, damn, Bjork got nominated again for Best Alternative Music Album. I wonder if she's finally going to win it this time. And, lo and behold, yes, she gets nominated. No, she doesn't win. her Post album got beat out by Nirvana's MTV Unplugged, like back in '96. Her Homogenic album got beat out by Radiohead's OK Computer. Her Vespertine album got beaten out by Coldplay's Parachutes. Her Medualla album got beaten out by Wilco's A Ghost Is Born. And then with her, latest release in 2017, she got beaten out, and that was her Utopia album, got beaten out by Beck's Colors. So, and I saw her tour for her last album. Her last album was Utopia. She did the Utopia tour, and then last year, she pretty much continued the tour which she was supposed to do, but COVID shut everything down. So she had this tour, the Cornucopia tour. I went to that just last year. It was magnificent. It was everything I thought a Bjork concert would be. Super creative, just the design, the orchestra, the flutes and the instrumentation, the choreography, of course, Bjork herself. It was all brilliant. But man, album after album, she's getting nominated in a category that she basically embodies. I mean, does Bjork not embody the alternative spirit? And she has not yet won out of 8 nominations. So with this Fossora album, I hope she gets nominated. I'm assuming that it's going to be very good. I can't wait to hear it. But if she gets nominated, I hope the Recording Academy, and I know you want to, choose every winner in a vacuum. You want it to be based on whether it truly deserves to win over these other nominees. But I kind of hope that they're aware that Bjork has been nominated in this category 8 times and has not yet won once. So I hope her album, Fossora, finally breaks that spell. But yeah, let me know if you were aware of that. Yeah, I mean, look, Bjork has won tons of awards in different styles of award shows. She just has yet to win a Grammy. Like, she's won just about every other award show. She's won something in just about every one of them. But, I mentioned she had 8 nominations with 0 wins, but she's been nominated for a tons of other Grammys. Best Alternative Music Performance, Best Music Video Short Form, Best Pop Instrumental Performance. She's had a lot of different nominations, has yet to win a Grammy for anything. But in this specific category, nominated 8 times without a win. I hope she gets it with this one. But yeah, let me know what you think about Bjork. If you have heard the Fossora album, let me know what you think. And if you have a favorite Bjork album, or let's say top 3 favorite Bjork albums, along with your 3 favorite Bjork songs, let me know what those are as well. And please, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love alternative music like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.